Putin's forces, supported by the Moscow legislature, are actively recruiting criminals. Ukraine says it is making progress in its counteroffensive against Vladimir Putin's forces despite extremely fierce fighting, and it claims Russia is losing a staggering 900 troops per day. Kyiv's deputy defense minister claimed advances of several hundred meters near Bakhmut and Zaporizhia as the lower house of Russia's parliament gave its initial backing to plans to allow Moscow to enlist suspected or convicted criminals to bolster its army in Ukraine. Kyiv will ask the West to approve delivery of fighter jets at a crucial NATO meeting this week, and a senior Kyiv official, Yuri Sak, told The Independent that, had we had F-16s, by now the situation would have been different, in light of the claimed advances, which contrast with Russian claims to have repelled attacks. Mr. Putin responded to reports that the United States would supply weapons containing depleted uranium to Ukraine by saying that Moscow would use such weapons if necessary. Meanwhile, Mr. Putin's ally Alexander Lukashenko claimed that Belarus had begun receiving Russian tactical nuclear weapons 3 times more powerful than those dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Plans to allow Moscow's defense ministry to sign contracts with suspected or convicted criminals to fight in Ukraine have received preliminary support from the lower house of Russia's parliament. According to the database of the Russian lower house, the State Duma, a contract could be signed with a suspect while an investigation is ongoing, with a defendant while their case is being heard in court, or with a convicted defendant before the sentence becomes final. Ineligible applicants include those with a criminal record for sexual offenses, treason, terrorism, or extremism. After serving out their contract or receiving decorations for valor in battle, those who enlist would be immune to criminal prosecution. The Defense Ministry has been silent on whether or not the new amendments being considered by the Duma will allow for the recruitment of people who are already serving sentences. Ramzan Kadyrov, leader of the Chechen Republic, has denied reports that one of his senior commanders was killed or injured in Ukraine. Adam Delimkhanov, who is both a member of the Russian parliament and the commander of the Chechen division of the Russian National Guard, is widely considered to be the second most senior official in the Caucasus region, behind Mr. Kadyrov, who is a close ally of Vladimir Putin. Mr. Kadyrov claimed to have known from the outset of what he called a fake information attack, that Mr. Delimkhanov was uninjured, but he chose to remain silent in order to embarrass Ukrainian media outlets that reported on the commander's alleged injury. On Wednesday, Russian media outlet Zvezda reported, citing the parliamentary press service, that Mr. Delimkhanov had been injured in Ukraine, prompting worry from the Kremlin. Mr. Delimkhanov, who maintains a sizable online following, over 500,000 on Telegram alone, remains silent. More than 7 years in prison have been handed down to an associate of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny on extremism charges, according to Dasha Litvinova, who notes that this is the latest verdict in a crackdown on dissent by the Kremlin as it wages war in Ukraine. Former head of Navalny's office in the Russian region of Bashkortostan, Lilia Chanishova, was found guilty of inciting violence, creating an extremist group, and establishing a rights-violating organization. According to Lyubov Sobol, one of Navalny's advisors, President Vladimir Putin has put one more hostage in a penal colony with this verdict. Kira Yarmish, a spokesperson for Navalny, claimed that Chanishova was persecuted for standing up for the country's future. And RIA report states that a fire has broken out at the Novocherkassk power station in the southern Russian region of Rostov, not far from the Ukrainian border. The official Russian news agency did not report what started the fire.